Let's get it rolling. Guys, Crypto with Dinny, great guest on the podcast with me today, John O'Connor, a Bitcoiner. John, introduce yourself, please.
Hey, Denny, thanks for having me on today. So my name is John O'Connor, and got into Bitcoin in December 2020. And yeah, just good to be on here today.
Awesome. Yeah, I know. I was only looking at, I searched your name in my emails to see when did John do a course with me. And it was in April, so it was one full year. So you were obviously doing a bit of homework before then, and then you ended up in a Crypto with Dinny. But tell us about your sort of path, maybe before Bitcoin, what you were up to, and then maybe what led you down this rabbit hole to where we are today, I suppose.
Yeah, so yeah, my journey. I'm in business. I'm actually in business 25 years now. So I started. So like I'm an entrepreneur. It's the only thing I was sure of. I'm so uncertain about lots of parts of me, but like the one thing I'm not unsure about was like I always loved business, and I always loved looking at someone else's idea really and thinking I could do it a bit better. So my entrepreneurial head would have been started off nightclubs, when I was going to college, car washes, selling Christmas trees, everything really. And I would have done that in my college years, and then I opened up franchises, some fastway franchises. And then 2008 happened. I was only getting going. Like I felt like I was like at that stage. I felt like I was in college. I was starting these things in the 2000s, 2003 and 4, and like Ireland was crazy. Like just felt like everyone was making money. It felt like, and I felt so late to the party. I was like, what was after happening around that period was you had you obviously had the all the tech bubble going on, and that popped in 2000s, and I sort of felt like I missed that a little bit. I thought that was over. I thought the internet was like finished, and I went into traditional business. And then I felt like all my friends or my peers were getting into property, and they were like really getting going, and I was just getting going. The next thing, the crash happened. And I was like, and I'd overextended myself, of course, trying to get somewhere quickly, not looking at the long-term picture. But unfortunately, then I had to close down. Or I sold actually what I had. I closed down some businesses, and I ended up in a house in Waterford with no car and 12 other people, flat broke.
Wow.
So that was like, oh, that was bad. It was like I'd literally gone from like a BMW car, house, a restaurant, to an absolute. There wasn't even a bike. We're all on our uppers down in Waterford. So like what I actually did, man, was I had no money, and like everyone else in Ireland, I think around those times, 2008, 2009, and I owed money. Now I was able to pay a lot of my debts, but like, there was people, family and stuff that I owed money to. And there was a guy in the house I was in, and he worked in a car wash, and he was on about the car wash, what kind of business it did. And like, I literally, like, I was a few weeks there trying to figure out what I'm going to do. And I had no money to actually start another business, but like, I was like, all I need is a bucket and a brush. That's it. And I opened the car wash. I went up to garage and I opened the car wash. And now I was thinking big, like I was thinking franchise of car washes throughout Ireland. So big, like as you can get big with car washes, but like I wasn't just thinking about having one car wash. I was thinking, look, I understand the franchise model. I've been in the franchise model, so this is what I do. So I'll apply those learnings to maybe to this industry, because like according to my friend that was telling me about it, it was a really good business for him. So anyway, I opened the car wash, had 4 of them open within 6 months. Quickly learned that you couldn't scale this business. Franchise car wash does not work because the quality is so different between the car washes, and you have so many rainy days. So I pivoted into the waste industry. There was an idea I came across, which was bins on petrol forecourts, because I'm on a petrol forecourt now every day. It's raining some days, I'm washing cars, I'm looking around, I'm thinking, what could I do here? Like, I see all these people pulling in, and I'm living in a house and I'm paying 300 quid a year for my bins, and there's only me. And I'm like, that's such a waste of money. And I was thinking about putting bins on petrol forecourts. And I came across a product in Wexford, and I put a bin on a petrol forecourt. So the bin I put on is a big compactor where people drive to the garage with their rubbish. It takes 500 bags of rubbish, and they pay in the shop, and the bin opens up automatically, and they put their rubbish into it.
Yeah.
So I started that business, put it on my petrol forecourt, and then I had it on about 6 petrol forecourts. And I scaled that then through a good few counties in Ireland. So it was really as a pay to use bin collection. And the good thing about it was you can use it 7 days a week. It's pay as you go. No one's telling you to put your bins out on a Tuesday morning. So it was really for small households and infrequent users. So yeah, got into the waste industry. I'm in the waste industry since. I've always been in the waste industry. I consider myself a waste guy. I love the industry, and I've seen it really grow and prosper now in the last few years. So I then started. We're scaling that product, the big bin. It's called the big bins and petrol forecourts. We're scaling that to every petrol forecourt in Ireland over the next few years. We're already about 40 sites around Ireland. And I also started a few other businesses along the way, but my primary business has always been the waste. And from that, then in 2016, I started a business with Robbie Scoose and John Hegarty, which was called Collect.ie, which is like basically Collect.ie is like Uber for bins. And what it is Collect.ie, the ethos behind it is people have stuff they need to get rid of from their houses, and all they want is someone to come and collect it, and they don't really care what the product is, whether it's skip bags or junk. So Collect.ie, if you have a waste need, go onto our platform and we'll give you a price to take away anything. We'll take away a bag of clothes to house clear out to garden sheds, and we outsource. We partners. We operate in every county in Ireland, so like we're all over Ireland for the business. So it's just that's been really successful, and everyone has something under their bed they need to get rid of. Everyone has, and it's very confusing. Sometimes people are like, I'm not sure if I can get rid of this, and what we say is just give us a ring, come onto our website, send us a text, send us a tweet, and we'll give you a price, and then we outsource it to really licensed and well-run businesses.
Deadly. And then so that business was up and running. You had a bit of time in your hands, or what happened? How did you get orange pilled? Like, what was your journey? Was it slow? Was it fast? Did you have a couple of touch points? Was it just one sudden person that sat you down and said, John, listen?
Yeah. Oh, good. Listen, Dinny, I heard about Bitcoin like from my friend Robbie back in 2016, like everyone, and I didn't have the time. Like, you become so consumed. Like, I was investing in my businesses. So I knew that people were looking at Bitcoin. I know people look at pensions. I know people look at stocks, bonds. I was like, okay, every penny I ever had have gone into my businesses. And so it wasn't like that I was total, I just didn't have the time to look at it. And I said, look, my payoff for my time is going to be building up these businesses and building value for my shareholders and for my staff and myself. And that's where I'll make my money. So we floated Collect.ie in the NASDAQ stock exchange in 2019. That's a small stock exchange for startups in Sweden. So after that, it was probably the first time I had a little bit of money. And now, relative to myself, I never actually had any money, man. And I never had any, as I said, money I put into the business, but I had a little bit of cash. And I remember going in that December, what do I do with this? Like, what do I do with the with the money I have? And I was like, I put it into a pension, I could put it in the bank, I could put it into property, and I was like, I just didn't know, like I started looked into all these things. I didn't really understand. I don't want to be in the property business. Like, a lot of my friends struggle with this, and they say it's, some people are very good at running it, but my friends that have a few homes, they can say it's more hassle than it's worth. So I was just looking around and what give me the best return, and I'm thinking about the future for my kids and for my family and for me, and I want to hedge my bets because you never know in business. And Bitcoin came onto my radar from, I don't know, it just came onto my radar, and of course I watched the right podcast, and it was like someone said, what's giving the best return? If you just take away all the noise and all the rat poison, and it's going to go to zero. But if you just look at it as an asset class, what's given the best return over the last 10 years? And it's like, Bitcoin. And then that put me down the rabbit hole. Like, yeah, that's what happens.
Deadly. And since then, I've sort of watched your journey, and it's been really cool to come into, I think initially when we done workshop we were talking altcoins, there's a lot of interest in that, and I've sort of watch your journey pivot to being almost, you're just solely focused on Bitcoin now. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, what happened was I looked at it. I looked at where to put money, and I looked at Bitcoin, and then I obviously, two things happened. I went onto Clubhouse. Okay, so Clubhouse is an app, And it's where people, I started listening to podcasts and I went on to Clubhouse. And at Clubhouse, there's people up on stage every night and they're debating Bitcoin and they're debating other altcoins and assets and stuff. And a lot of the people that were talking have been in the industry, have been in Bitcoin for years. So in January, February, March, April, I was still trying to understand what to do here. And between like going, like, a lot of them built a good case for why solely focus on Bitcoin. Like the people I like listening to pretty much put it like this: is there's so much to understand about Bitcoin that if you really want to get consumed by it and understand and go down the rabbit hole, you wouldn't have time to investigate other coins. And they also said, I suppose a few other things came up between and doing your course is like do people, I like now from doing the work, like I sort of understand like this is like the biggest paradigm shift ever. Okay, we have here, like we have this, like the gold rush, what's going on at the minute. Like literally we've created an internet for value. And I sort of got that, man, like the base, like everything, like the world is built on money and we have something here that's disrupted money. We're going from analog to digital. And like when I actually got my head around that, and these guys, I was on there for 3 hours every night. I went to your course. I listened to all this content that you put out. And I started listening, like I listen to 3 hours a day of podcasts. So what I do is I get up in the morning, I go to the gym, I listen to 1.5, 2 speeds. Then I'm tidying the house every evening. I love tidying the house because that gives me an hour to just listen to podcasts and, and I started building conviction. And I just don't know, I'm still down that rabbit hole, but I still feel like there's so much to learn. And if I want to really, if I want to really be part of this, I don't want to happen what happened to me in the 2000s. I missed out in the .com at that stage because I thought it was too late, and I also didn't put the work in. So like I'm just putting the work in. I'm whatever, 1.5 years into it, and I still feel I don't even have time. I understand all the other ones, and I know there's huge opportunities in NFTs and there's huge opportunities in other altcoins. It's just I'm just going to focus on, because I feel like over here I have something that's disrupted money, and it's going to be the biggest thing that ever happened in my lifetime. So I'm going to focus on this, and the other stuff, of course, I'll stay aware of it, but I just don't have the time to like get involved as such. And
that's a really good point, and it's almost, I suppose, maybe good advice for anyone who's listening that's new. Well, it's rational sense. Bitcoin is the biggest proportion of the whole crypto market. So maybe if you're trying to understand the market, start with the biggest domino and knock that down first and go down that rabbit hole. And then what a lot of people find is sort of, well, maybe I don't need to look at these other ones. But what I find is people dilute themselves too much. They want to learn about NFTs because they feel they're missing out. And then they want to learn about Meta because Facebook changed their name. So it's all about that. And they're just so diluted. And they run around like a headless chicken and they haven't got a clue of anything. Nor do they even, can they explain Bitcoin at a really basic level. I'm just like, just put a little bit of time into Bitcoin, try and figure it out, spend a bit of time with it. It's the biggest return on your time of this whole market, is that you're going to knock down the biggest chunk of it by getting your head around Bitcoin. And then when you're comfortable and you've an okay understanding, have a look at other stuff when you're ready. But I think, when we try and dilute ourselves, because crypto's so loud, there's so much going on in the space, and then it becomes a barrier to entry. People are just like, well, I can't figure it out. It's too much. So I like that approach of the focused approach, and it'd be something that I like as well. Where can I get the biggest bang for my buck? Time being our most precious thing, as you mentioned, like time's so important, and it's just not the time of how do we navigate and how do we come in, and I like that strategy of focusing on Bitcoin. And as you say, you're still not done yet, and I would have done the same thing. It's just massive consumption of podcasts and information, and just my deal was around 7 p.m. I'd start and I'd go to 3 a.m. and I'd just done that for a solid year, like. And of course during the day when I'm out walking, it was just and you can never learn enough. The more you learn, the more you learn is, oh my god, this is bigger, it does another layer, and it's consuming. I just wanted to ask you then, from being in the Bitcoin space, and you were over in Miami as well at Bitcoin 2022, so we'll get into that in a second. But just from your sort of on the ground experience in Ireland, where are we? Are we ahead of the rest of Europe? Are we on par? Are in terms of Bitcoin understanding, do most people think it's still a money for drug dealers, or it's a Ponzi scheme, or it's a scam? or it's a religion, or are some people like, I suppose I can answer that question. I know most people still think of that, but in terms of the rest of the world, are we on par with worldwide adoption, or are we lagging, or in just in your in your opinion, from what you're seeing on the ground, from talking to friends, family, etc.
Yeah, so like I suppose there's two parts to this. Is like the first part is like people are telling you that adoption rate's growing faster than the internet at its stage. Like there's like what 120 million, 150 million people that hold Bitcoin. But in my experience, is like in my network, there's not many there's not many that understand it or have it, or or grasp the opportunity. I have a few friends in my network that are learning about Bitcoin, and but I suppose therein lies the opportunity. Is like therein lies the why there's value at the moment, like why we're still early. Like that's what I keep saying to my friends. That's why first of all I had to understand myself. I thought I was too late. So early. Like we're actually the early adopters, the innovators, really. So like and that's and in my network, it's hard. Everyone has an opinion on Bitcoin without doing the work. So like just people are asked what I think of Bitcoin. I did it. Oh, I gave an opinion. But like that's the story of my life, like is contemporary investigation. Like I give opinions on something I don't actually understand. There isn't anyone that I've come across that have put the work in and said this is a scam. It's like once you start putting the work in and you go below the surface, you're like seeing this is like actually, as I spoke about earlier, and the more you go down, the biggest opportunity I'll ever be part of. So it's really about, what I'd say to people. I was with a neighbor the last day, and like sometimes I try to bring up the conversation. I gauge a person first, like, because like if I told somebody smoking crack, I wouldn't get the response sometimes I get when I say I'm into Bitcoin. Like, it's like, Jesus, I'm like, oh. So I know some people are, but this guy was open. He had a bit of money, and he was wondering what to do with it. And he asked me to do, I think I should put into Bitcoin. And I said to him what I say to everyone is don't. I said, oh, first of all, study it. I said, you can't put money into something just based on what I tell you. The minute it goes up or down, you're just going to pull it out. So I was like, really, I've got a list of stuff. I think you gave it to me, actually. Someone gave me the list of stuff to read, and I sent that to him. I said, look, do what build a conviction, understand that, make sure this is for you. Like, and it's really about putting the work in. If you put the work in, you'll get it. And you get it then, and there's such depth that you get it. First of all, you get probably the coin, and you'll get like, you get the, this is going to keep going up, but it took me a while to get the second part with the network effect, and Bitcoin, the network, I suppose, and like the opportunity that we have to transfer value from one party to another, and how this is where really, in my business head, I suppose this is where the huge opportunity I see happening.
Yeah, and really interesting what you mentioned earlier. Like, this is money, and the world is built on money, and this is the transition from physical to digital, or from analog to digital, as you said. And because we look at Bitcoin and we go, well, it used to be a penny and now it's $40,000. It's gone. It can't go any higher. But as you say, when we look under a hood and we do the work on it, we go, it's totally irrelevant what we think is a lot of money. This is the world, and the world is built upon money. 40 grand is not a lot of money when you compare it to how much money is in our world and how our world works.
Yeah.
It's a grain of sand on a beach at 40 grand, of the actual overall potential of where we can go. And I think we're all guilty of that, myself included. We're always like, it's too late. But how I sort of try and explain that to people is, when Bitcoin was 4p, it going to 40 cent was, forget it, you're dreaming. And like, once it went to a monetary value, it's almost like then it proved itself. And now it's just a case of time. You're just going to add a zero on whenever. Mm-hmm. But going from 40 cent to 400, it's like, what are you talking about? That's crazy. But it done that. But now we're thinking 400, that's so cheap.
Yeah.
And then to get from $400 to 4 grand to 40 to then 400 to 4 million. Now 400 seems like a lot, and 4 million seems like a lot. Maybe not to us Bitcoiners who can sort of understand, where it has potential to go, but to someone who's just coming in and someone who's just being exposed to it and saying, oh, it's 40 grand, Jesus, but I can get this one for 0.0001 of a penny. What if that's the next Bitcoin? And we sort of get lost like that. And is the journey into Bitcoin or into crypto, do people have to go down the rabbit hole of buying, there's a lot of great altcoins. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on there, but a lot of them are really close to scams when you look at them, and it's almost like, you know, they're sort of, they're trying to peddle off people's misunderstanding. It's very much retail driven, and that means, is the journey into the crypto space, do you have to go down the rabbit hole of being overexposed to alts and seeing an inevitable bear market come and your portfolio get ripped apart, and then you come to the conclusion that, feck it, if I just bought Bitcoin, I'd have probably been okay now because we're making new highs, but my one is still underwater. Do you think that's the journey that everyone has to go through? Do we all have to go through our own pain?
I didn't go through it, and the reason I didn't go through it is because I listened to people like you, and like that's probably what's happened to me in business, through being in business for a good number of years, is find people you trust. And like the guys in Clubhouse that have been through 2017 where they all got wiped out, like I listened to them and I learned from their experiences. Now I have listened to people before in business give me advice and I've ignored it at my peril. And so this time I was like, okay, these guys, I believe what they're saying. They're credible people, and they've told me that, like, they've explained like how what happens with a lot of the altcoins. Now, of course, there's opportunities, as I said, in other ones, but it's hard. But again, what's the point of me going looking for those opportunities when I actually have here Bitcoin? Like, you know, I didn't see the point. And yeah, like lots of people get wiped out. There was a few coins I looked at, like, because my friends are into them, and again, I'd be like, what's the utility? Like, what's, like, you know, what have they done? So I'd look at I'd always, any business, look at the team. Okay, so who's the team behind it? What have they done before? What's the market opportunity? What traction have they got in the market? So you got to just look at the fundamentals, and then, like, you know, I'm sure make a decision on whether I should go ahead with this coin. But like, I wouldn't be going ahead based on, we're going to do X, Y, and Z, we're going to bank Africa. Like, I wouldn't be getting into something on that. And then the Bitcoin, I suppose, it's got the network, like Bitcoin. Then if you look at that, and I was just like, you know, it's got the network effect. It's out there. It's you know, it's already got a history. So it was just a no-brainer for me. But the main thing was I listened to other people for once, for once in my life, like, and thank God, because I didn't go down that route. I haven't got wrecked. And you know, the relatively the amount that I hold has been, like, you know, I'm thinking long term. So like what people told me is, like, put it away. Like, you know, there's multi-sig wallets over, you know, you can use some of the American companies and put it in cold storage with those companies and just let it sit there. And then I also do what other people have said is the dollar cost averaging, which is like a really good way of you know, of buying Bitcoin. You know, buy a small amount every, or whatever you want to do every week. So, you know, I haven't gone down that route, and I don't think everyone has to go down that route. I think if people like yourself and other people share their experience, some will think will be looking for the, you know, the asymmetric returns, not really like understanding that, like, Bitcoin growing at 200% year on year is like unbelievable. Like, where would you get it?
It's crazy. In my experience with Crypto with Dinny, and it's funny, I wanted to call Crypto with Dinny Bit Paddy, you know, because on Bitcoin. But I had a partner at the time, and he was like, "No, like, no one's interested in Bitcoin. It's crypto. Crypto's where the fast returns are." And we ended up going with Crypto with Dinny. And it's sort of like my pet peeve. I'm like, maybe someday we'll pivot back to Bit Paddy because that's what I wanted for the Irish sort of team on it. But it's true. If we were just pushing and saying, "Here, come and learn about Bitcoin," it would have been crickets, because I find people come in looking for the fast return. Just like now, it's all NFTs. People are asking me about NFTs, not realizing that it's a massive bubble. Every day I open my DMs, I have 6 companies wanting me to give me free NFTs to go and push out to my community. Now, I've obviously never done it. I've no interest in that, but it's just, that's how bubbly it is. And I've people saying, "Dean, you think there's value in me trying to sell NFTs?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? Like, you sell carpets. What are you doing?" Like, but you know, in that instinctively, and I'm guilty of it. It's just a human characteristic that we will chase the shiny object. And I think maybe because when you're in business, you're a little bit more hardened because you've learned the lesson that the fast, easy way, it never really works out on the slow, methodical, sensible approach, or investing more time, or you know, investing into education before you invest your time into making mistakes to get the education, that there's return on that, that maybe us, we understand a little bit more, and we didn't have to go down the pain rabbit hole, and we understood if we invest into our education. But by and large, I see a lot of people, it's the shiny object syndrome. And I just see our next halving cycle, it's probably going to be the same all over again. And there's going to be a
Yeah,
new batch of people come in. Obviously, my job is to try and orange pill them and teach them, maybe learn about Bitcoin so you don't have to go through the pain. But that's not to say that there's no upside with altcoins. There's tremendous upside. It's just that there's more volatility, there's more risk. And, as I say to people, Bitcoin can succeed and everything else can go to zero. But the opposite, I don't think, is true. If I'm holding a particular altcoin and Bitcoin goes to zero, I think it's probably going to die with it. I think Bitcoin, because Bitcoin moves the market, Bitcoin goes up, everyone goes up. Bitcoin goes down, everyone goes down. So by being exposed, by being short Bitcoin and holding whatever else, I think you're at much greater risk. And then, as you say, do I need to be? Like, this is the base layer of money potentially. This is sound money potentially. Maybe I don't need all that risk because this is probably big enough
yeah,
with its
yeah.
potential. Talk to me a little bit about Bitcoin 2022.
Yeah,
How was that?
so oh, it was excellent. It was so good. Like there might like I was really looking forward to it. I think this was the biggest year. There's 25,000 people in Miami, so it was the World Bitcoin Convention, and the previous year I think it was 10,000, and so went over like just really like there's something about Bitcoin people as well. I think there's a connection there, instant connection when you meet with them. I found I met a lot of people I follow on Twitter, like Jeff Booth, Greg Foss, Jimmy Song. These are all guys that like I'm following on Twitter. Preston, like from a macro level, and just really nice. Like first of all the people that were there, I was chatting to everyone. I was like, it's crazy. Hey, how are things? An instant connection about like talking about Bitcoin, where it's going, what's the scene like in America. And then I got to meet people that I looked up on Twitter, like not meet them as in like formally. They were like walking down the hall, and I'm like, hey, going over to them, and so nice, like really nice guys. Gave the time, and like I feel. Dinny, even the connection with yourself, like, we get it, man. We get it. And there's that thing, like, there's an excitement there, like we're so early. It's probably like the guys as I said, like back in the gold rush, because that's what this is the equivalent of. It's probably more so like, this is the sense I get, and or the early internet. So like there's that thing like of, understanding first of all that we're early, understanding like that, that they understand this, and that like how a lot of talk around like how to bring like family and friends into this. You'd be asking them, how do you orange pill people, and how can you share this with people that are close to you. And but really good talks. Went to see, there was a lot of people I wanted to see speaking, and just all in all, man, just really gave me a good feel. And like I was asking you there earlier, is there any more events around that are coming up? Because like I just find like it's good for it was good for the soul. Like really, I just really
I forgot to mention there is an event. We have organised a meetup on the 25th of May. So I haven't actually put out the information on that, but there's going to be 3 amazing speakers at it. One of them will be Dinny Collins.
good stuff.
I'm not sure if they'll all be amazing, but no, we've got 2 great lads to talk. So that's going to be cool. It's going to be good networking opportunities, to stick that on your radar, and I'll be pushing out the info for that probably tomorrow and all next week, and then forever until the 25th of May.
Yeah. That's great. No, that's really good, because like it's just nice to connect with other Bitcoin people and have those chats.
Yeah, it's good, I think, because a lot of the time, and I find this in my courses, and that people are mad for the community, because you can be just segregated. You can be the Bitcoin weirdo and none of your friends are into it, none of your family are into it, and all you want to do is talk about it so that you can develop your understanding of it and have other people give you their understanding, and together you sort of shape your understanding, and it evolves and grows. And if you're quite isolated, you're like, nah. And that's what I found in Ireland, was that it was quite isolated. I was like, well, I'm mad into this and no one else really talks about it. So I just started talking about it on the internet. I suppose that's how Crypto with Dinny came about. But there's a definite need in Ireland, for some meetups. I know the guys up in Belfast have something going on, and it's cool. And same down in Cork with Skilling Mining. And I think definitely up around Dublin, probably everywhere, we need it. Why do you think? I think it's funny. It can be a barrier to entry for. I always try and think of like why people don't get orange pilled. And one thing I find is you have the Ponzi scheme thing, okay? Of, well, why do you want to tell me about it? Okay. Now, how I understand that or deal with that is it's because, well, I never have to work again. It's great.
Yeah.
You know, why don't you do it too? I'd rather not be the only person who doesn't have to work and be on my own on a Monday morning because everyone else is working. This is like, figure this out, buy some. You don't have to worry about your future. This is amazing. This is something that it's like, I suppose when I got, but after I broke my back and I rehabbed from that and I got really healthy and I was like, like I feel amazing. I have more confidence than I've ever had in my life. Yes, I'm skinny and I look better, whatever. But I'm a different person inside. All I want to do is get out there and teach it and show other people you don't have to be miserable. I was like that for ages. You don't have to have no confidence. I was like that for ages. Just get fit and life's so much better. And it's the same with Bitcoin. It's just like just saving the money that goes up in value as opposed to saving. I know we're all taught to saving the money that goes down in value, but as you said, you've been in the house with fucking 12 people. You know what it's like to struggle. I lived in my mobile home. I know what it's like to struggle. I know what it's like to see my family struggle for money. And I was like, when you figure it out, and it's like, it's so easy. You don't have to pick stocks. You don't have to fucking read companies and try and guess what to do with your money. Like never has there been an easier time to protect and build wealth. And it's almost like it's too easy. It's like it can't be that simple. You're telling me I just saving some Bitcoin, dollar cost averaging some Bitcoin. It's like, yes.
And it is that simple, Dinny. Gee, it is. That's like, it's amazing, isn't it? But like, it's, I think we get like, I can only speak about myself and my experience in life is like, you get on that wheel and you get so, like even pensions, I think very few people pay into pensions and really understand. Like I didn't understand what a pension was. I didn't think that far ahead. I was like, you come out of college or you're in business and you're just working and you're trying to, for me, like I was always very ambitious. So I was going to build like a huge business in whatever industry I was in. So I was always thinking that's going to be what I'm doing. So I didn't really take my head out of the business to just understand financial services, understand macro, what's going on in the economy globally. I was so in it. It was only when like you broke your back and that made you open to other experiences. I got some money and then I was like, okay, what am I going to do with this? And then it's like, I think it's at that stage, whatever stage people are at, like, and people maybe before they pay into pensions, or you should really, I feel that's a good time to educate people about, okay, you're paying into pension, what does that mean, what happens? Currently if you're paying into pension, like, look at inflation, like it's actually, to me it seems insane to put all your money into pension. Why not take why not first of all educate yourself, understand what the other options are, and then if you do feel you do have some belief in Bitcoin, why not put a portion of what you're putting into your pension into Bitcoin, and then just watch that year and year? Because I guarantee you, if you get off from a zero start, and you see that you see Bitcoin go up as it does, that might make you then build more conviction and put more into your pension. Because really, what we're doing, we're like, what am I working hard for? I'm working hard for so I can have good quality of life, so I can spend time with my family, and so that sometime in the future I don't have to work if I choose, I don't have to work as hard. Like I'm looking for that freedom that money gives you. And like I suppose like it's people just need to, at least my circle of friends, we don't even talk about money. Like we don't talk about what happens or what are the, we talk about houses was lost, that was probably houses and a little bit about pensions, but like it's mostly what pension broker am I going to go to, and that's probably the size of my education up until that point, that I was like, okay, I need to study this and see what I'm going to do with this money.
Yeah, and I suppose that is the problem with money, is that you can't just work a job and save the money, because the money is broken, I suppose, will be my opinion. So that I have to be, if I'm a personal trainer, I have to be a personal trainer, and I have to be a sophisticated investor if I just want to live a good quality life, or I have to be whatever my career is. Plus, I've got to be a sophisticated investor. Not an investor, not a bad investor. All those things mean I'm screwed. I've got to be an intelligent and a good investor. And if I just pass my money to someone else who's going to invest it for me, well, I have a problem with that, because when I see the returns that people actually get, and they don't find this out until they're in their late 60s, and then they go to draw down and they're like, this is all I get a month? This couple of £100, and I've paid in my whole life for this? And it's that frustrates me, because maybe because the system wasn't as broken 20, 30, 40 years ago, people didn't need to learn this lesson. And it's only now sort of that it's becoming apparent of, our money system is really starting to deteriorate, and that old way of operating of work hard, save money, put in a pension, that's not going to deliver you the quality of life that you think it will, or that it used to for people in the past. And now you have to work, save money, invest money, and manage your investment, and watch it
Yeah.
closely. And then you have to learn about all the stuff like, people are like, I don't want to learn about this Bitcoin thing. I just want to go to the park and play with my kids. Like, and that's fair enough, like,
Yeah.
because time is precious. And by you having to take your time away from your kids and that stuff, because you've already worked your job, you've already worked your 40-hour a week or whatever it is. And now you got to put more work into it. Fair enough, we're passionate about it. But just I feel for the normal person who doesn't, or they think it's too difficult, because by design, finance is made difficult. And I was at an event last week, a funeral, and I was chatting around to the few of the boys, and they were talking because they know I'm into Bitcoin, and they were quizzing me on it a bit, like, and there were just horror pension stories of old boys that are contributing to them for years, and one of the lads is getting 35 quid a month, like, and he paid into it. He was like, that pension thing's a racket, like. I was like,
Yeah.
well, he's like, I contributed that for 25 years and I'm getting 35 a month. Like, that's not even worth giving a person in today's day and age, 35
Yeah.
euros in a month. Like, and unfortunately, we do learn the lesson too late. And that's why I like to go to Bitcoin isn't that difficult. It really isn't. Like, I know crypto is so loud, but if you can just try and break Bitcoin down and get it, it is very simple. It's not a sure thing. It's very close to a sure thing, I think. But there's still an unknown. Just like a meteor could hit the planet tomorrow. That's an unknown. None of us seen this coming. Is there any point in me worrying about that happening? No, I just live my life normally, just like an unknown wiping out Bitcoin. It's very hard to to see it coming. But all I know is for the last 13 years, it's been the best performing place to put your money. And that doesn't look like changing. In fact, it's a less risky thing today. To buy Bitcoin today is less risky than any other time in history. You've got a bit of company there, John.
One second, Dinny. Sorry, James. Sorry, Dinny. It's one of the kids. Jeff's James.
No panic at all.
Yeah.
So there's never been a less risky time to buy Bitcoin than today. But you have to feel for the normal person, because we're seeing inflation levels continue to rise. People are starting to talk about it. People are starting to become more open to, okay, I need to get my money working for me. The problem with that, again, it's like the altcoin, the shiny object. I'm seeing a lot of people much more open to scams, much more open to get involved in really high risk stuff with their money now, because they see it as a quick way. Well, if I just buy this, and this guy is promising me to trade my money for me, and he's going to give me back all this money. And in normal times, we wouldn't entertain that stuff because we can think a little bit more rationally, because we're not as worried, we're not being squeezed as much. But now that we're being squeezed, we're more open to much higher risk. And it's certainly, I think times have changed. And this decade, we're going to continue to see a big change in money and how money works, and in the whole financial sector, I suppose, or how we operate in money. Or
there's a new asset class, isn't it? Like crypto and Bitcoin. I know Bitcoin is 40% of that market now, but like it is a new asset. It is a new asset class, and like, so you need to educate yourself on it, and you need to, and that's why, like, if you look at Bitcoin, actually, I've heard a good way to describe it. It's a saving technology. That's another way of looking at it, and it's guaranteed. It is guaranteed every 4 years to go up because of the halvening. It's like, it's programmed that way. At the minute we have like 900 Bitcoins every day is being mined. That goes to 450 in 2024. So but the demand is going up every year. So like, demand is going up and supply is going down. That's obviously deflationary. So like, you could just look at it like that, as like, put a portion of what I have into it, and it's like, it's another hedge of your bets. Like, so personally I've built once I understood it, I put most of my money into my savings into Bitcoin. But just to get off there is like, first of all, educate, understand, and then go, this is another hedge against the future, like against maybe my pension not paying off or my property not coming in. And it is really simple. Like you just leave it, you just sit back, like don't think, leave it there for 10 years, just pay dollar cost average, leave it there for 10 years and see where it ends up. But if it's like, if the adoption rate is like we spoke about earlier, it's at the rate of the internet, we're going to go from 130 million to a billion people over the next few years. And then they're going to be in it, and all of them will want Bitcoin. So that's going to drive up price. And like 40,000 a coin now is going to be, it's like probably going to be like you said earlier, when it was $400 a coin or euros a coin, people are probably going, oh, I wish I got in at like $40. I'm so late to it. I guarantee you, like in 5 years time, people are like, I can't believe that it was 40,000 euros. Like, and they're going to be, it could be at whatever it's going to be at then. And so I think everyone that comes into it looks back and says, I wish I got in earlier, but like now is so early.
Yeah. What was I going to say there? I can't remember what I was going to say there. I had a point on that, but it's gone. Anyway, I'm about finished with you, John. It's been fun, but before I let you go, in 2030 then, what's the price of Bitcoin? You can give me a bullish or a bearish answer if you want, or you can just stick with your
Okay. All right, I'll give you a bearish.
And it's not financial advice. We're only having a bit of crack here. So.
Do not listen to me or Dinny. Yeah, look, there's so many, you hear so much. Okay, so say, look, people look at a store value, or I look at a store value. Okay, and that market is worth whatever 400 million euros. Is it 400 trillion? Is this, sorry, 400 trillion? Yeah, you're right. Sorry, 400 trillion. So if Bitcoin at the minute is worth 0.75 trillion or a trillion euros, that's like 25%, okay, 0.25%. So do I think it's going to go up higher than that? Of course, I think it's going to go up higher than that. And just say it goes up to, say, 5%. People put 5% of their wealth over the next 10 years or 8 years into that. Like that makes us, does that make us? So that would be, boom, boom, boom. That's 5%. So that'd be like 80 trillion, is this? So, yeah, that'd be about 600. So to get bearish, it's 600. If 5% of people's wealth, store value wealth goes into Bitcoin, that would be 600,000 euros a coin. So yeah, like I think that's possible. That's 5%. It could go 20% of people, 20% of the store value market could go to Bitcoin. So if it goes to that, then that's 2.4 million. So that's 600,000 at 5%. Like that's very possible that over the next 8 years that 5% of people put their allocation of their store value, like, as I spoke about earlier, like our gold is at 10 trillion. Bitcoin is just nearly at 1 trillion. So it's going to overtake gold. Yeah, definitely think it'll overtake gold. Its properties are better. And why do people buy gold? They buy gold to store the value. And there's the other asset classes. You got the collectibles, you got like bonds, you got equities. Like, do I think as people get more educated and as more adoption happens that people are going to start storing their wealth in Bitcoin? Definitely. And it doesn't sound unrealistic. Like I think that 5% of that market will be in Bitcoin. So I think that's 600,000. So 600,000 bearish, and it could go to people to get 20, 30, 40%, who knows, like, but it is, when I first got into it, like I was like, I think it was the bull market went up to 68. Did it go 68,000? Was that last June?
Yeah,
went all the way up,
yeah. I think, yeah.
Yeah. So look, there's loads more coming into this, and there's like, there's Michael Saylor and all those, like, I think is he 10 million a coin? I think he said 10 million a coin.
Yeah. I'm somewhere like mine is sort of like 500,000 to 10 million. That's my bearish is 500,000. My bullish is 10 million. And the way I see that is, okay, for 10 years, you're going to hold an inferior asset that's not performing as well as Bitcoin. Fair enough, you can do it. It's only in 2020, I think, we got orange pilled properly. Most of the world that weren't, weren't weirdos maybe, or really, really early stage, techie, geeky people or whatever with time on their hands, or anarchists or whatever. Like, but it's only 2020. A lot of the world started to go, okay, what is it? So for 10 years, you're going to hold something inferior while you're going to watch this other thing ripping.
Yeah.
So if store value is 400 trillion and Bitcoin's 1, I think if 50%, Chris has done that, and he said if 50% of that goes into Bitcoin, we're at 10 million a coin. if 50% the store value, if Bitcoin was 200 trillion, say,
Yeah.
someone could check the maths of that, type in
Yeah, I'm
200
saying,
trillion
I'm like,
and divide it by 21 million. There's a lot of zeros on the calculator. Don't screw it up. but it's definitely achievable. Like, definitely, as you say, 25%.
yeah,
Because find anything that we have a digital version of it that's better than the physical, and we didn't just it didn't just consume at 100%, not 25%, not 5%. Like, we don't use 95% record players and CDs and 5% Spotify. No, we use 100% Spotify. So when you look at it like that, it's like maybe we're underestimating, even though we're massive bulls.
yeah, no, but it's actually interesting you say that, because sometimes I am pretty bullish, like, because like the other thing that caught me with Bitcoin at the very start was it's finite. Like, it's programmed at the 21 million is it. That's the cap. And if you think about it, like, there isn't another asset class in the world or commodity that you can't make more of. So just say what would happen if this was gold, or if it was oil, or if it was a commodity and the price has gone up, like Bitcoin will go up every 4 years. They just make more of it, but you can't make more Bitcoin. And then what's happening is there's more people coming into it. So like, we're talking now, you're probably another class this week, and you probably have however many people there. That's another few people coming into the Bitcoin market, and like, that's grown each year, but demand is staying the same. So like, sometimes maybe we're not bullish enough.
Yeah.
No.
And we have the dynamic that the miners aren't even selling. A lot of them are going public. So it's like gold miners who are mining gold, not selling. That doesn't happen. But like, how does that affect it? We fast forward 5 years, if we're like, these miners aren't even putting that into the fucking supply. This thing is just getting crazy. There's potential. It's not a sure thing, but there's certainly potential for us to be all, why were you so bearish, when we look back and we go, what happened?
But you can go like, you're buying it. You're also buying like part of the internet. Like, it's like, by proxy, you can buy the internet is for communication. This is for transferring value. By proxy, you can buy part of the internet now by investing in Facebook, Twitter, Amazon. But like, with this, with Bitcoin and the network, you can actually buy a bit of the network. Like, so the network itself, that's where the value is. And that network, like, with second layer 2 and layer 3, like Lightning and Liquid, like, you're actually, so there's the asset, and then there's the network. Like, so you're getting double bubble. So it's really it's going to be really interesting to see what happens over the next few years. And but the people that are coming out as well, I think the credibility of the people that are coming out, like, you got your Michael Saylors, and you obviously got Jack Dorsey's, and you had a Peter Thiel as well at the Bitcoin conference, like, and Elon Musk. All these people, like, are holding Bitcoin, and they believe in it, and they see that the financial system is does need a reset, and they do. So you got all these people coming out, and they're giving their predictions, and it just gives you more confidence, like, that, yeah, look, what I am saying, or what I am believing or hearing is true, like, and we could get to these prices is, like, very credible.
Yeah. The network, because most of the time we focus on the asset rather than the network. But as you say, the network is hugely valuable, and you can, unlike any other network before, you can own some of the network.
Yeah. That thing the conference where Jack Mallers, I know you spoke about it in your previous podcast, that was like 85% of retail stores. Now you can transact through Lightning on the, which is a massive, like, and the fees are so low. So gradually, then suddenly, isn't it? So you can see, obviously, these stores are going to see, I'm not sure, not everyone's going to come in and use the Lightning Network straight away, but like, when they're doing their accounts at the end of the month, and they're saying, right, we're paying 2.5% transaction fees to this company, and over here we're with Strike, and we're only paying whatever percent, they're definitely going to start pushing their customers to be using the Strike network, because, like, 2% margin they're going to have each month, like, or each year. So, like, I think that was, like, I was expecting Jack Mallers to, because the year before he'd introduced El Salvador, and I was expecting that he was going to announce that they're after partnering with Apple or something like that. And I was sort of underwhelmed when he said what he's done. But then afterwards, I was like, oh my God, this is like, this is just this whole gradually. Then suddenly, like, okay, it's not massive groundbreaking, but over the next few years,
we're still in the gradually phase.
Yeah. And it's the network there, like, I don't know why a retailer wouldn't be pushing their customers to use it.
It's a no-brainer when you've something that's putting money in your pocket eventually, like you say, gradually, then suddenly. We're lucky that we're in the gradually phase. This is why we can leverage being early, and I think anyone who does the work now will be, their future is rewarded, I suppose. John, I'm not going to keep you any longer. It's been awesome, great conversation. Great to talk to you. Great to see your journey and your insights. And I look forward to seeing what you get up to in the future. Is there anywhere people can connect with you or anything?
Yes, I'm on Twitter, John at Collect on Twitter. And yeah, and Dinny, thanks for thanks for all the content you put out there, and really appreciate it, because it's really helped me over the last year. So thanks, and thanks for having me on today.
100%. Thanks, John.
Cool. Take care, man. Have a good day.